The station called Horizon Ring floated between three star systems, built as a place where species from across the galaxy could meet without fear. It was old, wide, and full of quiet movement. Lights glowed softly along curved halls. Voices from many worlds blended into a low hum. This was where decisions were made, treaties signed, and futures shaped. Humans had been invited only recently. They were still new to the wider galaxy, and most species believed they were here more as observers than equals. Humans were smaller than many, weaker than most, and far louder emotionally. Their technology worked, but it was messy and inefficient compared to others. That was the common belief. Eli Mercer stood near the edge of the main conference hall, holding a small data tablet. He wore a simple uniform with no rank marks worth noticing. His job was not to speak. His job was to make sure systems worked, files transferred correctly, and nothing important crashed during meetings. He was good at that. Eli listened as speakers took turns at the central platform. Tall beings with crystal skin, floating shapes held together by light, long-limbed figures whose voices echoed through translators. They spoke about trade routes, energy sharing, and research cooperation. Then, Ithari Vol stepped forward. She belonged to the Varelian species, tall and sharp-featured, with silver-blue skin and eyes that reflected light like glass. Her kind were known for logic, control, and intellectual pride. When she spoke, the room always listened. Efficiency, Cathari said calmly, is the foundation of survival. Any species that relies on emotional decision-making and physical fragility cannot be trusted with critical systems. Her gaze moved across the room, slow and deliberate, before stopping briefly where the humans sat. Several alien delegates made quiet sounds of agreement. Eli did not look up. He had heard this before. Cathari continued. While we welcome cooperation, it is important to understand limits. Some species contribute insight, others merely observe. The human ambassador did not respond. He smiled politely, as humans often did, and made a small note on his pad. Eli felt the familiar mix of irritation and acceptance. Humans were used to this now. They were always underestimated, and always expected to prove themselves later. The meeting moved on. As hours passed, Ellie monitored station systems from a side console. Energy flow steady, environmental controls stable, communications clear. Everything looked normal, too normal. A soft alert blinked on his screen, barely noticeable. A tiny fluctuation in background radiation near the station's outer edge. Eli frowned. The system flagged it as insignificant. Many species ignored small errors like this. Humans did not. Human systems were built with the understanding that small problems became big ones, if left alone. He ran a manual check. The fluctuation repeated. Eli leaned closer, fingers moving faster now. The pattern was strange, not random. It adjusted itself, almost like it was responding to the station's power cycles. He quietly tagged the data and sent it to the station's shared network. No one replied. Across the hall, Cathari and other delegates continued debating energy quotas. The discussion grew complicated. Permissions layered on top of permissions. Every action required approval from multiple councils. The radiation fluctuation grew stronger. A second alert appeared, this time station-wide. Lights dimmed slightly, then returned to normal. The room paused. Some delegates looked around. Minor system adjustment, an automated voice announced. No action required. Cathari dismissed it with a small wave. Continue. Eli's screen showed more warnings now. Power feedback. Sensor noise. External gravity distortion. All small. All connected. He stood and walked toward the human ambassador, leaning close enough to speak quietly. Sir, Eli said, something's off. External anomaly. It's reacting to us. The ambassador glanced at the data, then nodded. Send it up the chain. Eli did. Nothing happened. Minutes later, the station shook gently. Not enough to cause panic, but enough to be noticed. Voices rose. Several delegates paused mid-sentence. Another announcement followed. Unscheduled spatial interference detected. Investigation ongoing. Cathari turned sharply toward the station control officers. Why was this not reported earlier? One officer replied, confused. It was classified as negligible. Eli exhaled slowly. Sensors began to fail in small ways. Visual displays lagged. Translators stuttered. Environmental systems struggled to keep perfect balance. Still, no alarms blared. The station was designed to prevent panic. That was the problem. Most species believed that if something was not immediately dangerous, it could wait. Humans had learned long ago that waiting often made things worse. Amore, it was slower, but honest. The anomaly was not a natural phenomenon. It moved with intent. It responded when the station adjusted power. It pressed harder when systems tried to stabilize, like a weight leaning into resistance. Eli swallowed. This thing was old. Not alive, but not dead either. A construct of some kind, broken, unfinished, and unstable. Across the hall, debate had turned to evacuation protocols. Each species argued over priority, liability, and legal authority. No one was acting. Eli made a decision. He routed manual controls to a secondary system and adjusted power flow himself. It went against protocol. It would be flagged later. He did not care. The station steadied slightly. Cathari noticed. She turned and looked directly at the human section. Who authorized that adjustment? Silence. Eli stood. I did, he said simply. The room focused on him for the first time.
You are not cleared for system control, Cathari said, her voice sharp.
I know, Eli replied, but the anomaly reacts to perfect balance.
You keep trying to smooth it out. That makes it worse.
Murmurs filled the hall. You base this on what? She asked.
Pattern behavior, Eli said, and experience. Cathari's eyes narrowed. Human intuition is not a valid metric. Eli did not argue. He simply tapped his screen and projected the data. Raw, imperfect, but clear. The reaction curves told the story. Several delegates leaned forward. The station shook again, harder this time. Cathari hesitated, just for a moment. Return control to the central system, she ordered. Eli obeyed. The shaking increased. Emergency lights flickered on. This time, alarms sounded. Voices rose. Protocols activated. Too late to prevent fear now. Cathari looked back at the human. Her expression had changed. Not fear, not respect, but uncertainty. Eli met her gaze calmly.
Humans were weak, she had said, but right now he was the only one who had seen the problem before it became impossible to ignore.
And the station was running out of time. The alarms did not scream. They pulsed. Soft, repeating tones meant to inform without causing fear. Still, fear found its way into the hall. Delegates spoke over one another. Translators lagged again, turning clear sentences into broken echoes. The lights dimmed further, then steadied, as if the station itself was unsure what it wanted to do. Eli remained standing where he was, hands relaxed at his sides. His heart beat faster, but his face stayed calm. Panic never helped. He had learned that early in life. Cathari Val watched him longer than necessary. Her species did not like uncertainty, and this human was a walking source of it. Control officers, she said, sharp and precise. Report. One of the station engineers answered. The anomaly is increasing pressure on our outer field. Automated stabilization is compensating, but efficiency is dropping. How fast? Cathari asked. The engineer hesitated. Faster than predicted. Eli glanced at his tablet. The numbers confirmed it. The anomaly was adapting again, responding to every correction. Your systems are too clean, Eli said quietly. Cathari turned.
Explain! They're designed to remove error, Eli said. This thing feeds on that.
Every time you correct perfectly, it finds the new balance point and pushes harder. That is illogical, she replied. Human systems are built around failure, Eli said. We expect things to go wrong. Several delegates shifted. That statement alone sounded like an admission of inferiority. Cathari folded her hands behind her back. Expectation of failure is weakness. Eli shook his head slightly. It's preparation. Another tremor passed through the station, stronger than before. A few smaller delegates grabbed nearby supports. The emergency lighting deepened to amber. The automated voice returned. Outer structural stress increasing. Advisory level elevated. Debate resumed instantly. We must disengage power. No. That would destabilize life support. Evacuation priority must be established. Authority has not been approved. The words piled up, blocking action like debris in a narrow path. Eli looked toward the main control balcony above the hall. It was sealed now, locked behind layers of permissions. He knew the station design well. Humans had helped build parts of it. Not the elegant parts, but the practical ones. Cathari, he said, raising his voice just enough to be heard. She stiffened at the use of her name, but did not interrupt. You can keep debating, Eli said, or you can let me try something. Your previous action increased instability, she said. No, Eli replied calmly. It revealed it. Another alert flashed across the room's shared displays. Power rerouting failures. Sensor blindness in small areas. Cathari felt the pressure of the room on her. Borellians were trained to lead through certainty, not risk. But certainty was gone. What do you propose? She asked. Eli tapped his tablet and projected a simple diagram. No complex models, no perfect lines. Just blocks and arrows. I want to stop fighting it, he said. Let the station be imperfect on purpose. Several delegates reacted at once. That is unacceptable. That violates design principles. That invites collapse. Eli waited until the noise died down. Your systems assume stability is the goal, he said. Humans learned that stability is temporary. What matters is recovery. Cathari studied the diagram. She did not fully understand it, and that troubled her. How much authority do you require? She asked. Temporary local control, Eli said. Limited scope. I'll build in manual feedback. If it gets worse, you shut me down. The station shook again hard enough to force silence. The engineer beside Cathari spoke quietly. We are approaching thresholds. Cathari closed her eyes for half a breath. Then she nodded. Grant him access, she said. Restricted and monitored. Eli did not smile. He simply moved. He connected his tablet to a nearby interface, bypassing higher-level automation and pulling raw control channels. His fingers moved quickly, but not frantically. He adjusted power flows unevenly, allowing small inefficiencies to exist. The station responded. Not smoothly, not cleanly. But the pressure slowed. Readings stabilized, not at ideal levels, but at survivable ones. Eli added redundancy where none existed, routing systems through older backups that were never meant to be primary. They were inefficient, messy, and strong. Cathari, watch the data shift. This contradicts our models. Your models assume systems want to be perfect, Eli said. They don't. They want to keep working. The anomaly pushed again, harder this time, then hesitated. Its reaction curve flattened.
It's confused, Eli muttered.
What? Kethari asked. It expects correction, he said.
We're not giving it clean signals anymore.
Minutes passed. The alarm softened. The amber lights remained, but no new warnings appeared. Delicate slowly resumed breathing. You are intentionally introducing flaws, Kethari said. Yes, Ellie replied. Controlled ones. Why does this work? She asked. Eli thought for a moment. Because humans don't build for the best day. We build for the worst one. The station lurched suddenly, more violently than before. Someone cried out. A few lights shattered, falling harmlessly against reinforced flooring.
Eli cursed under his breath. It's changing strategy, he said.
The anomaly surged, bypassing outer systems and pushing directly against internal gravity fields. Kithari's composure cracked.
Can you stop it? Eli swallowed. I can slow it.
Maybe redirect it? Maybe? She repeated sharply.
That's honest, Eli said. Perfection would be a lie.
She stared at him. For the first time, she did not see weakness. She saw acceptance of risk without surrender. Do it, she said. Eli rerouted gravity controls manually, allowing slight variations instead of strict uniformity. The station felt wrong. Floors tilted by fractions. People staggered, then adjusted. The anomaly lost synchronization again. It pushed once more, weaker this time. Data flowed across Eli's screen like rain, not beautiful, not elegant, but alive. The station held. Silence followed, heavy and uncertain. Finally, the automated voice spoke.
Structural stress stabilized. Advisory level holding. Relief spread slowly, cautiously.
Kethari exhaled. She had not realized she was holding her breath. She turned to Eli. This is not sustainable long term.
No,
He agreed.
But it buys time.
For what? She asked. To understand what this thing is, Eli said, and why it was abandoned. The word lingered. Abandoned. Kethari's eyes narrowed. You believe this is artificial? Yes, Eli said. And broken. The idea disturbed her more than the danger itself. You will remain here, she said. Under supervision. Eli nodded. Fair. She paused, then added, and you will explain your methods in detail. He almost smiled. As the hall slowly returned to controlled order, one truth settled quietly among the delegates. The human they had ignored had not saved the station with strength or authority. He had saved it by accepting that things break and knowing what to do when they do. And Kethari Val realized, with growing discomfort, that she might soon need his help again. The station did not return to normal. It only pretended to. Lights stayed dimmer than before. Systems ran slower, with small delays that no longer triggered alerts. The air felt heavier, not because of gravity, but because everyone knew the calm was temporary. Eli sat on the floor near an open access panel, his back against the curved wall. Tools were spread beside him in no special order. He worked better that way. Perfect lines and clean layouts were for people who believed nothing would go wrong. Across the hall, Kethari Val stood with several senior delegates. They spoke quietly now. No shouting. No arguing. The crisis had changed the tone of the room. She has authorized continued human intervention, one delegate whispered to another. Unthinkable. She ignored it. Her attention kept drifting back to the human on the floor. Eli adjusted another setting, allowing a power fluctuation that would have caused outrage an hour earlier. The station responded by settling slightly, like a tired body finding a better position. Kethari stepped away from the group and walked toward him. You are deliberately allowing instability, she said. Yes, Eli replied, without looking up. You understand that if this fails, responsibility will be yours. Eli nodded. That's fair. She studied him. You do not appear concerned. I am, he said. Concern just doesn't help much. That answer unsettled her, more than fear would have. What are you doing now? She asked. Listening, Eli said. She frowned. To what?
The station, he replied.
It's telling us where it hurts. Cathari did not understand how a structure could speak, but the data confirmed his adjustments were keeping stress levels from rising again. Explain the anomaly, she said, in clear terms. Eli wiped his hands on his uniform and finally looked up at her. It's a system that never learned how to fail safely. Someone built it to be perfect, then walked away when it wasn't. Who would abandon such a project? She asked. Someone afraid of mistakes, Eli said. That answer struck closer than she liked. Hours passed. Delegates rotated in and out. Some slept where they stood. Others watched Eli work with open suspicion. A few watched with growing respect. The anomaly pressed again, testing boundaries. Each time, Eli adjusted, never blocking fully, never overcorrecting. The pressure came, slowed, shifted, and weakened. But it did not stop. Eli's eyes grew tired. His movements slowed. He drank water when reminded, not before. Cathari noticed. You should rest, she said. I can't, Eli replied. It learns when we pause. That is unsustainable, she said. So is pretending it will go away, he answered. She did not argue. Instead, she made a decision that surprised even herself. She activated the public channel. All delegates, Cathari announced, her voice steady. Effective immediately. Human operator Ellie Mercer is assigned primary advisory authority on anomaly response. All departments will cooperate! The hall froze. Eli looked up sharply. You don't have to. I do, she said. You were right earlier. Debate is slowing us down. The reaction was immediate. Objections rose. Legal concerns, protocol violations, political consequences. Cathari silenced them with a single raised hand. This station will not survive consensus, she said. It will survive action. Eli stared at her. You're taking a risk. She met his gaze. So are you. The difference is that you have already earned it. For the first time, Eli looked truly surprised. With authority granted, things changed quickly. Engineers began listening instead of arguing. Human technicians joined alien specialists, filling gaps where rigid training failed. Instructions were short, clear, and flexible. Eli spoke often, but never loudly. He asked questions. He listened. He adjusted plans as new information arrived. The anomaly reacted. It pushed in new ways, less predictable now. It was adapting faster. Cathari stood beside Ellie as the data shifted again.
It is learning, she said. Yes, Eli replied.
But so are we. The anomaly began pulling energy instead of pushing. Subtle. Careful. Like testing a lock instead of forcing a door. That's new, Eli murmured. Is that worse? Cathari asked. Different, he said. Which means dangerous. They traced the pull to a forgotten subsystem, old and unused, something left behind when the station was upgraded. Eli smiled faintly. Of course. What? She asked. It's looking for weak points, he said, like a human would. That thought disturbed her deeply. Can you stop it? She asked. I don't think stopping is the answer anymore, Eli said. Then what is? She demanded. Eli took a deep breath. Communication. Silence followed. You believe this construct can understand us? She asked. Not us, Eli said. Patterns, he explained quickly. The anomaly responded to behavior, not language. Pressure, resistance, adjustment. It was a system trained through interaction.
We've been fighting it, Eli said. Then confusing it.
Maybe we need to teach it. Kethari struggled with the idea. Teaching a broken machine by allowing it to interact felt reckless. And if it learns the wrong lesson? She asked. Eli did not pretend certainty. Then we adapt again. The anomaly surged slightly, as if listening. Eli adjusted parameters, allowing limited interaction. Not enough to harm the station, but enough to be felt. The anomaly responded gently this time. Stress levels dropped. Kethari's eyes widened. It is responding. Yes, Ellie said. It's not attacking. It's reaching. That word changed everything. The construct was not a weapon. It was alone. Records surfaced as teams searched deeper. Ancient design logs, half-finished experiments, a project abandoned because it could not be controlled perfectly.
Eli read the final entry quietly. Too unstable.
Too adaptive. Decommission recommended.
He closed the file. They were afraid of it, he said.
Kethari felt a strange emotion she did not immediately recognize. It was not guilt. It was recognition. This is how the galaxy treats humans, she said softly. Too unpredictable. Too adaptive.
Eli glanced at her. Yeah, we're used to it.
The anomaly stabilized further as interaction continued. Not fixed. Not safe forever. But calmer. Exhaustion settled over the hall like fog. Kethari finally spoke what she had been avoiding.
What happens when this ends? She asked. Eli leaned back against the wall.
Then we figure out how to live with it. Or near it. Or away from it. You do not destroy it, she said.
No, Ellie replied. We don't destroy things just because they scare us.
She looked at him for a long time. Once she had said humans were weak. Now she understood something far worse. They were willing to face broken things and stay. And for the first time since the anomaly appeared, Kethari Val felt something unexpected. Not fear, dependence. The calm did not last. It never did. The anomaly held steady for several hours, quiet in a way that felt unnatural. Systems hummed unevenly, but remained stable. People rested where they could. Some slept sitting up. Others simply stared at the lights, afraid to close their eyes. Eli remained awake. He had learned long ago that when things became quiet too suddenly, it usually meant something was changing. Kethari stood near the central display, reviewing incoming messages from outside the station. Her expression grew tighter with each update. The Concord is aware now, she said. Eli looked up from his console. That was fast. They detected the energy shift, she replied, and the deviation from standard protocols. Meaning? Eli asked. Meaning? Ellie asked. Meaning they are concerned. And when the Concord is concerned, it intervenes. As if responding to her words, the station's long-range communication array activated. A symbol appeared on the main display. Official. Cold. Final. Incoming directive. The hall fell silent. Kethari straightened her posture.
Open channel. A voice filled the space, layered through multiple translators, calm and distant. This is Oversight Command of the Galactic Concord.
Horizon Ring. Report status. Kethari stepped forward.
This is Delegate Kethari Val.
The situation is under control. We have stabilized the anomaly through adaptive response.
There was a pause. Clarify, the voice said.
Kethari hesitated only briefly. A human specialist is leading mitigation efforts. The silence that followed was heavier than any alarm. A human, the voice repeated. Explain why standard authority has been overridden. Murmurs spread through the hall. Eli felt dozens of eyes turn toward him again. Cathari did not look back at him.
Because standard authority failed.
That is a serious accusation, Oversight Command replied. It is an accurate one, she said. Eli watched her carefully. She was placing herself at risk now. Political, professional, and personal. What is the status of the anomaly? The voice asked.
It is responsive, Cathari said. Not hostile.
It is stabilizing through interaction rather than suppression. That approach is unapproved, Oversight Command. You are ordered to disengage human control and initiate containment protocols immediately. Eli's hands stilled. Cathari closed her eyes for a brief moment. No, she said. The hall erupted in shocked sounds.
That order is final, the voice warned. If we follow it, Cathari said, the anomaly will escalate again.
You will lose the station. Your assessment contradicts established models, Oversight Command replied.
Your models are incomplete, she said. Another pause.
Eli quietly returned to his work. He did not interrupt. He knew this moment was not about him speaking. It was about her choosing.
You are placing significant trust in an unclassified species, the voice said.
Cathari's jaw tightened. I am placing trust in results. Trust is not a metric, Oversight Command replied. It should be, she said. The anomaly shifted slightly. Eli felt it through the systems before the data confirmed it. A gentle pull, testing.
They are pressuring us, Eli said softly.
Cathari nodded. They are pressuring me too. Oversight Command spoke again. If you do not comply, Horizon Ring will be placed under external control. That meant forced shutdown, isolation, cold efficiency. Eli stood. Cathari, he said quietly. If they take control, the anomaly will react badly. It's learned to respond to us, not commands. She knew he was right. She also knew what defiance meant. Cathari turned back to the display.
You may assume control if you wish, she said. But understand this.
You will be interrupting a learning process already in motion. Learning? The voice repeated.
Yes, she said. Something your doctrine does not allow.
The anomaly pulsed again, stronger this time. Eli's fingers flew across the console. It's getting nervous. Because it senses threat, Cathari said. Oversight Command responded immediately. You are anthropomorphizing a construct. Humans do that, Eli said under his breath. Cathari almost smiled. This is your final warning, Oversight Command said.
Disengage human control. Cathari looked around the hall, at the tired faces.
The damaged systems still holding together. The human sitting on the floor holding a station together with imperfect solutions and stubborn care. She made her decision. No, she said again. The channel cut abruptly. Emergency notices appeared across the station. External override countdown initiated. Eli felt a cold knot form in his chest. How long? Minutes, Cathari said. They will force isolation. That'll scare it, Eli said. The anomaly surged in response, pulling harder now, reacting to the sudden rigidity in the station's systems. Okay, Eli said, breathing slowly. Okay, new plan.
There is no time, Cathari said. There is always time, Eli replied.
Just less of it. He rerouted controls again, loosening internal restrictions, letting the station breathe unevenly. The anomaly responded, but less violently than before.
It's confused, Eli said.
It doesn't know who to listen to. Can you make it listen to us? Cathari asked. Not exactly, he said. But I can show it consistency. He opened broader channels, exposing stable but imperfect patterns. Repetition. Acceptance. No sudden corrections. The anomaly slowed. Countdown timers continued.
This will not stop the override, Cathari said.
I know, Eli replied.
I'm not trying to stop them.
She looked at him sharply.
Then what are you doing?
Preparing it, he said. For separation. The idea struck her instantly. You want to let it go?
Yes, Eli said.
It's not meant to be caged. If they isolate the station, it'll panic. But if we ease the connection now, it might detach on its own. That is untested, she said.
So was trusting a human,
he replied gently. The anomaly's pressure lessened again, as if listening closely. Eli adjusted the final parameters, allowing a slow release. Not rejection, not control, just space. The countdown reached its final seconds. Then, the anomaly let go. Energy readings dropped sharply. External stress vanished. The station drifted free, system stabilizing in uneven but safe patterns. The override triggered anyway. External controls slammed into a calm system instead of a struggling one. Silence followed. Slowly, lights brightened. System settled. The station remained intact. Eli slumped back against the wall, exhausted. Cathari exhaled shakily. Moments later, the channel reopened. Oversight Command spoke, voice altered slightly by uncertainty.
Report! The anomaly disengaged, Cathari said. Voluntarily. That is impossible, the voice replied. It happened, she said.
Because we allowed it to choose. There was no immediate response. Eli closed his eyes. For the first time since this began, the station felt safe. But he knew the danger was not over. Because now the galaxy had seen what humans could do, and some would not like it. Cathari looked down at Eli, her voice quiet. You were right, he smiled faintly. That happens sometimes.
She shook her head.
No, about something else. What? She paused. Humans are not weak. The words felt heavy, final. And somewhere beyond the station, something broken and abandoned drifted freely for the first time in centuries. Learning. The station healed slowly. Nothing snapped back into place. Nothing returned to perfect balance. Systems stayed uneven, patched together by human redundancy and quiet cooperation. Yet everything worked. Considerably better than before. Eli slept for 12 hours straight on a bench near the control hall. When he woke, the lights were brighter, the air lighter, and the alarms silent. For the first time since arriving at Horizon Ring, the station felt alive instead of fragile. Cathari Val stood near the viewport, watching the stars drift past. The anomaly was gone from sensors, but not forgotten. Something that ancient did not simply disappear. It had moved on, learning in its own way. She heard footsteps and turned. You should have woken me, Eli said, stretching his stiff arms. You needed rest, she replied. That was not a suggestion. Guess I'll listen this time. She studied him for a moment. Not as a human, not as a tool, but as a person who had changed the direction of events without force or authority. The Concord has issued a formal inquiry, she said. Ellie sighed. Of course they did. They are confused, Cathari continued. Their models predicted failure. Models do that, Eli replied.
Reality doesn't care. They want explanations, she said.
That's fair, he said. Just don't expect neat answers. She inclined her head slightly. That gesture, small as it was, carried weight among her kind. The inquiry began later that cycle. Delegates appeared as holograms, their forms sharp and distant. Oversight Command spoke again, this time with less certainty and more caution. Explain the sequence of events, the voice said. Cathari spoke first, calm, clear, honest. She did not defend doctrine. She did not hide mistakes. She described failure, delay, and fear. Then she described adaptation. Then she turned and gestured toward Eli.
The human did not overpower the anomaly, she said.
He did not control it. He listened. A pause followed.
Listening is not a technical solution, Oversight Command replied. It is when the system responds to behavior, Cathari said.
Which this one did. Eli spoke then, carefully, simply. No dramatic language.
No claims of heroism. We didn't fix it,
he said. We helped it stop breaking things while it learned how not to. Several delegates shifted uneasily. You allowed an unknown construct to make choices, one said.
Yes, Eli replied, because forcing it didn't work. That is reckless, another said.
So is pretending fear is the same as safety, Eli answered. Silence fell again. Data flowed across shared displays, before and after readings, structural survival curves, recovery rates. The numbers did not lie. Oversight Command finally spoke. Human involvement will be reviewed? Good, Eli said. So should your assumptions. The channel closed without ceremony. Afterward, Cathari remained still, staring at the empty air where the delegates had been. You challenged them openly, she said.
Only because they were wrong,
Eli replied. That is dangerous, she said.
So is being right too late,
he answered. Word spread quickly after that, not through official channels at first, but through quiet conversations. Engineers told other engineers, analysts shared notes. Stories changed as they traveled, but the core remained. A human had held a station together by letting it be imperfect. Requests began arriving. Small ones at first, advisory roles, consultations. Humans invited not to command, but to assist when systems behaved badly. Some species resisted. Others listened. Cathari watched the shift with mixed feelings. One cycle later, she met Eli again in the same hall where she had once dismissed him. The Concord has issued a classification update, she said.
Eli raised an eyebrow. That sounds serious.
It is, she said. Humanity is no longer listed as physically inferior. And, he asked, they are now classified as adaptively critical, she said, with a secondary note.
What note? Eli asked. She hesitated, then quoted it exactly.
Human systems and operators display a statistically dangerous tolerance for uncertainty. Eli laughed quietly. That might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us. Cathari did not smile, but her eyes softened.
They mean it as a warning.
They should, he replied. She walked beside him toward the viewport. Stars burned quietly beyond the glass. You were correct, she said. I mistook resilience for weakness. That's common, Eli said. Among my people, perfection is safety, she continued. Failure is shame, and among humans, Eli said, failure is Tuesday. She considered that. You are comfortable with broken things. Yes, he said. Because we are broken things. The station chimed softly. A new message arrived, routed through Cathari's authority. She read it, then looked at Eli. They want you assigned permanently, she said. As a crisis specialist, Eli frowned. I'm not special. You are, she said.
You just don't believe that makes you superior,
He thought for a moment.
I'll help when I can,
He said.
but I'm not staying.
Why? She asked. Because humans don't need to be everywhere, he replied. Just where things are falling apart. Another pause. Cathari nodded slowly.
That may be your greatest strength. The anomaly was never seen again in that region of space, but fragments of its behavior appeared in data elsewhere.
Systems that adapted instead of collapsing. Structures that bent without breaking. Some scientists whispered that it was teaching others now. Or maybe humans were. Eli prepared to leave Horizon Ring a few cycles later. His role was complete. He packed lightly, as humans often did. Cathari met him at the departure gate. I once said humans were weak, she said. I remember, Eli replied. You did not argue, she said. No, he agreed. I waited. She met his eyes. Until I needed your help. Yes, he said softly. The transport doors opened. As Eli stepped inside, Cathari spoke. One last time. When the next crisis comes, she said, they will call for humans first. Eli smiled. That's fine. Why? She asked. Because by then, he said, maybe they'll understand what that really means. The doors closed. The ship pulled away, carrying one unremarkable human back into the vastness of space. Behind him, the galaxy adjusted its definitions. Strength was no longer measured by force. Intelligence was no longer measured by control. And humanity was no longer ignored. They were the ones you called when nothing else worked, not because they were perfect, but because they stayed.